My name is Mary Ann Fallman. I'm currently ministering at Wayne State University, where I help people set realistic expectations for behavior change. I also write and review multiple grants each year. In this video, I will explain to you the expectations for writing a ministry trust grant. Even if you have had one in the past, the expectations have changed a bit, so please take the time to watch this video. After you watch, there are 3 separate times where you can attend a Zoom call if you have questions. The directions for signing up for that call are in the letter you will receive with your application. It may be helpful if you have the application form in front of you so you can jot down questions and concerns as we proceed. Put me on pause and go get it. I'll be right here ready to go when you get back. Welcome back. First of all, let me be clear what I am doing and what I am not doing with this video. I'm going to describe the correct way to write purpose, goals, programming, and the budget. What I am not going to do is any other parts of the application. If you have questions about them, then please direct them to Sister Susan Van Balen. The grant application starts with a request for a mission statement of the organization. This is quite easy. You simply type the mission statement into the little gray box here. That part needs no explanation to most people. After the mission statement, the first item requested on the application is the purpose. For this section, use 1 to 3 sentences to tell the reviewers why you are seeking this money and what you hope to do with it. This should be a broad statement that gives the reviewer a clear idea of the overarching project that you are using the money for. Throughout this presentation, I will use one of my own grants as an example. So you will have specifics for each aspect of the application. The purpose of my grant is to help high school students of low socioeconomic status increase their intake of fruits and vegetables. I only needed 1 sentence to do that, but that tells the reviewer 3 things. It tells the reviewer the population I am working with, low socioeconomic status students. It tells the reviewer the behaviors I am working with, the intake of fruits and vegetables, and it tells the reviewer what I hope to accomplish. I want to increase that intake. The mission of my funding agency is to provide low-income families with the skills necessary to increase fruit and vegetable consumption. If you are the reviewer on my grant, comparing what I say I'm doing to the mission, then I match. Now, the next thing you have to do is state how your project aligns with the Adrian Dominican mission, vision, and 2016 chapter enactments. People generally do not have any difficulty with this section, and I will not be discussing it. Next, we get to goals and programming. This is the part that makes or breaks the majority of the applications. In this part, you are instructed to write your goals and your programming. Think of a goal this way. If everything goes right and I'm successful, at the conclusion of 1 year, this is what will have happened in the population I am working with. I'm sure that you've already heard of and are well acquainted with SMART goals, so this will serve as a review for you. There are 5 parts to every SMART goal, and reviewers will be looking for each of these. They are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. I will break each of these down separately in the slides that follow. So let's start with specific. What details do you want to accomplish? Which of these is more specific? I want students to eat better, or I want 75% of students exposed to the program to increase the number of times they eat vegetables each week. I want students to eat better. If I wrote this, the reviewer would have no idea what I mean by eat better. This goal is too general and leaves the reviewer guessing at what you mean. This goal is far more specific. I want 75% of the students exposed to the program to increase the number of times they eat vegetables each week. A specific goal has a much greater chance of being accomplished. The second major component of SMART goals is that they must be measurable. When writing goals, this is the area most likely to be missing. All goals need to have a way to evaluate whether or not they were accomplished. This section establishes concrete criteria for measuring progress toward the attainment of each goal you set. To determine if your goal is measurable, ask questions such as, how much? How many? How will I know when it is accomplished? So let's look at my goal again and see how I did with the question above. I want 75% of students exposed to the program to increase the number of times they eat vegetables each week. How much? Increase the number of times. Even one is enough to meet this goal. How many? 75%. How will I know if it is accomplished? This part seems to be missing. So I'm going to have to add something to my goal. So I'm changing my goal again. I want 75% of the students exposed to the program to increase the number of times they eat vegetables each week as measured by the Fruit and Vegetable Scanner by the CDC. Now I can tell if I have met my goal. Before students start the program, I'll give them a pre-screener. After the students start to finish the program, I'll give them a post-screener, and I just have to compare the results to see if my goal is met. Obviously, this is not a tool that you will be using. That does not get you off the hook. You still have to give the reviewers information. What will you use? What grassroots way do you have for collecting and gathering data? When writing measurable verbs, it's much easier if you start with measurable verbs. When writing measurable goals, it's much easier when you start with measurable verbs. Your application packet contains a list of measurable verbs to help you with this. The third aspect of SMART goals is that they have to be attainable. You may wish to change the world, we all do, but realistically, you have 1 year to use this money and accomplish something. What can you actually do in 1 year? The goal must be something you are capable of attaining. So let's look at this again. 75%, increase the number of times, and my measurement. Is this attainable? Of course it is. It's a really, really low bar. But given how difficult it is to get high school students to eat vegetables, even increasing by 1 each week is a big deal. In fact, the reviewers of my grant suggested I lower my expectations to 25%. So you have to determine what's a realistic goal that's attainable for the population that you're working with. The fourth aspect of SMART goals is that they have to be realistic. To be realistic, a goal must represent something towards which you are both willing and able to work. To determine if a goal is realistic, ask questions such as, do I truly believe that it can be accomplished? Have I accomplished anything similar in the past? And can I identify the conditions that would have to exist for me to accomplish this goal? So let's take a look at my goal in comparison to these questions. Do I truly believe that it can be accomplished? Absolutely. Have I accomplished anything similar in the past? No. We have only made an increase up to 55%. But I still believe that I can accomplish it. And in order to do it, two additional conditions have to exist. I have to increase the self-efficacy of the students and decrease the barriers. And that's something that we will work on in our grant this year. Finally, the last aspect of setting a SMART goal is that they have to be time-bound. God created the world in 7 days, so a year may seem like a lot of time, but it's not. It's 1 year, and it goes by fast. When do you want to accomplish your goals? Someday? That won't work, but if you anchor it within a time frame, something like upon completion of the year, then you have already set your unconscious mind into motion to begin working on the goals. So let's look at my goal again. Now we're looking for a time frame. Do you see a time frame in here? Yeah, me neither. What if these high school students eat one more vegetable per week when they turn 40? According to what I've written as my goal, that would work, but that will not get funded. So I need to change my goal one more time. And here is my final goal. My grant runs from October 1st to September 30th each year. So here's my time. By September 30th, 2019, 75% of the students exposed to the program will increase the number of times they eat vegetables each week as measured by the fruit and vegetable scanner from the CDC. Boom. Now I have a goal that is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So that's the presentation on goals. Now, for each goal you write, you need to have a plan for how you're going to reach it. In the Ministry Trust Grant application, that plan is called the programming. Programming stands for the specific activities you will take to accomplish the goal. Let's take a look at my example. I'm going to increase the number of times they eat fruits and vegetables each week. How do I plan to accomplish that? Well, I'm going to do 3 things. 1, a nutrition educator will provide a short 25-minute engaging lesson to the students each week for 10 weeks. Each lesson will address a different aspect of fruit and vegetable consumption. 2, with every lesson, students will be given a taste of a fruit or a vegetable to try. And 3, students will get healthy homework, like try a new vegetable this week and be ready to report back to me the next time we meet. So, I have a purpose, I have SMART goals, I have the programming necessary to successfully achieve it. All I need to do is figure out what all this is going to cost and match everything that I'm doing to that budget. So let's take a look at this. A budget is a realistic estimate of expenses that are necessary to accomplish programming. Expenses should be clearly aligned with the programming that you said you were going to do earlier in the application. So let's look at my programming. I'm going to have a nutrition educator provide 25-minute lessons, 10 weeks on different aspects. How am I going to pay for that? First of all, I have to pay for the nutrition educator. They generally get paid around $35 an hour, and they will be working at least 10 hours. So 25-minute lessons plus travel time plus time to prepare. So I'm going to budget $350 for the nutrition educator for each school that he or she is in. I also said that I was going to provide a tasting of food for every lesson. My experience is that the food and the materials necessary to provide the food tastings generally average out to be about $1 a student. So I need to budget $1 times the number of students times 10 lessons. Also, with the tastings, somebody has to prepare and package them. This takes about 20 hours a week. So I'm going to hire a student at $10.50 an hour for 20 hours times 10 weeks. So you can see how budget items are matching up to what I said I was going to do. The healthy homework has no cost associated with it. It will not show up in the budget. All right, so in summary, the grant application includes a purpose, SMART goals, programming that matches the SMART goals, and a budget that matches the intended programming. I am not attempting to downplay the fact that your entire project has to be aligned with the Adrian Dominican Sisters mission. You definitely need to be attentive to that. I'm simply highlighting the aspects of the application that people generally have the most difficulty with. There are other questions in the application pertaining to internal controls, in-kind services, etc., that I am also not addressing in this talk. Questions about that part of the application should be directed to Sister Susan Van Balen. Thank you for your time. That pretty much covers the key points for creating a grant that provides the information reviewers need to make good decisions. The packet you receive with the application contains a list of measurable verbs that you may find helpful, and you will have the opportunity to participate in a Zoom call to have any questions that you may have answered. Have a productive writing session.